So point 4 of this Edinger lecture, which is about paragraphs 609 to 624. I'm sorry, this is point 3. And he says, Yahweh has an infidelity complex. Self-reflection becomes an imperative necessity. And for this, wisdom is needed. And so, therefore, the feminine principle is necessary. And so, in paragraph 620 now, which is on page 60 of TGI, I think, transformation of the God image, that's what TGI means. What Yahweh is doing is entertaining the prospect of being unfaithful to Israel in order to have a relation with Sophia. Because he's made this contract with Job or with Israel, and now he's realizing that there's something missing. He needs some wisdom, and so he's got to go find the feminine principle in the pleroma. Yahweh has lost sight of his pleromatic coexistence with Sophia since the days of the creation. Her place was taken by the covenant with the chosen people, who were thus forced into the feminine role. So Yahweh is having the external love relationship with Israel, and then later withdrew the projection. He's going to turn from a projected relationship to his consort to a conscious directed relationship to Sophia herself. That anticipated infidelity is then projected upon Israel, represented by Job. That's what Edinger's saying, and he says that's what Jung is saying. Let's see, 620. Let's see if that's the long paragraph here. Oh yes, it's a very long paragraph, but basically, Edinger's point is God's marriage, here's what Jung says. God's marriage with Israel was therefore an essentially masculine affair, something like the founding of the Greek polis, which occurred about the same time. The inferiority of women was a settled fact. Woman was regarded as less perfect than man, as Eve's weakness for the blandishments of the serpent amply proved. Perfection is a masculine desideratum, while woman inclines by nature to completeness. Okay, that was the big point about perfection and completeness. So, for example, the Third Reich wanted a perfect world, so they wanted to eliminate Jews from their version of a perfect world. That was a logos type of decision. Well, we can solve all our problems if we just get rid of this type of people, right? But Germany, it destroyed Germany, basically, that attitude. And so we see it, emerging in the U.S. again today, where, the people that support the president want some sort of perfection of a white supremacist society, except, yeah, but the problem is that's not the way the world is, and Caucasian people are not the majority of humans in the world. We may still be in the U.S., but not for much longer, right? I mean, even 3 of my grandchildren are half Asian, so it can't last, and so instead we have to have another way of thinking about it than race. Okay, and I mean, I see it saw in the military where, even back in 1968, 69, when the civil rights movement was on really hard, and we had a lot of black Marines, at that time. And, there had been riots after Martin Luther King and after his assassination, and the company commander of the officers' company at headquarters Marine Corps. So this is a company that only has officers in it, including he was I think he was a major, but he had in his company the commandant of the Marine Corps. Four-star general was in his company for administrative purposes, right? But anyway, the company commander calls, I think it was the new officers, it must have been the new officers in the company, in, because there were, I don't know, 15 of us in this meeting, and he said, all Marines are green. I don't want to hear anything about racist stuff in my unit. All Marines are green. And, that's a changing of the field, right? Stop thinking of this black and white thing. These are your brothers. They're going to be saving your lives.
I remember that. I remember when Martin Luther King got killed because they were in the day room. Is that what we called it?
Yeah.
Yeah, watching the TV and all the black soldiers.
Right.
And I was so confused. I just walked by, and then I was really nervous, going, God, that's so horrible. What are these people going to do?
Right.
So I didn't blame them for most of anything. I mean, looting was stupid, but other than that, I was.
Yeah, but did your command do anything to try to have racial sensitivity
I
or
don't
anything?
remember anything. I just remember how devastated these guys were, and it was just strange times anyway.
Oh,
Somebody was being assassinated, or something was going on all the time in the '60s, late '60s.
yeah, it was a strange time.